For voices to be heard, one must want to listen. For voices to be understood, one must be given a chance to explain. For voices to create a change, one must be allowed the opportunity. This is The Hub, the journey, the awareness, where experience meets talk. Mondays from 11:05 a.m. inside Live at 10 with Tameeka on i95.5 FM. Tameeka is live. Tameeka is live. Inside Live at 10. Live at 10.
And it's another installment of The Hub, and I am really proud to say that I finally have gentlemen a part of The Hub.
Yeah, man.
Whoa.
Sitting in front of me, it's Isaiah John, and it's Emmanuel Villafana. Now, I want you all to know they are not shy a bit.
Right.
They are accustomed doing this.
There's a disclaimer.
They are accustomed interacting with the public. And what is key is that, have you all made it to 30?
Not yet.
No, but we're making
We're
it.
making it. We're making it for sure.
That was our discussion this morning. So, Isaiah, you go ahead. You introduce yourself to the family of I95.
Hi, everybody. Nation. All protocols observed. My name is Isaiah John. I am the Community Interventions Coordinator at the Roots Foundation. And here with me today, we have...
And how old are you before you switch over to the microphone?
I am 23 years old.
Lovely.
Nice. Well, yes, I am Emmanuel. Pleasure to meet everyone today. I95, big up on yourself one time.
Yes.
I am a workshop facilitator, a creative, and I'm the media coordinator with Roots Foundation. I've been here a while with Roots, and we just love helping out the youth.
And how old are you?
I'm 27.
Almost there.
But we are making it to
For sure.
We're making it. Yeah.
right? So tell us about the Roots Foundation.
Okay, sure. I mean, Roots Foundation, it's an NGO that is all about youth and advocating youth doing positive things, right? Now, we really use spoken word as the main catalyst to get the message across to the youth, simply because we think that art form is a bit more relatable. As it's, it's in the hype and it's in the vibe.
Yeah.
It's an attractive way to share the thoughts that we have,
Gotcha.
right? So we use spoken word as that catalyst to bring about change in two types or two cohorts of youth. We have vulnerable youth in at-risk circumstances, and we have opportunity youth. Now, we coined the term vulnerable youth in at-risk circumstances because the term at-risk youth already has that negative stereotype and that stigma attached to it.
Yeah.
And we try to pull that out. Some people would just think, that's the single-parent home, the boy living a life of crime, that's at risk. When we think vulnerable youth in at-risk circumstances, we're really talking about youth who have certain lived realities. You might have lost a parent on the way, and that could have changed the way you perceive life and put you in a vulnerable position. And we really said, we want to coin that term to encompass a larger group of people, not just the traditional quote unquote at-risk youth. And of course, opportunity youth are just youths around 16 to 25. They're not probably working, they're not in school, but they want to do something positive, and we want to capture them there to show them some positive ways to express.
And that term was coined by the Obama administration, opportunity youth. So we just take it over. Take it, boy, and follow it, and we bring it home.
You bring it home, yes.
Yeah. And of course, make a local twisted. It really is about showing youths that there are other ways to express themselves besides the negative, the life of crime, and some of the other stereotypes and stigmas that we know. It's just to open their eyes to the fact that there are other opportunities, even outside the traditional education system. There are other ways that you can earn income and have a successful life, right? So we want to really just create that safe space, one, for them to express themselves, and two, for them to know that there are other opportunities.
Now I'm sitting here and my face I am in my glee. When I started with the hub flowing through my mind, this is what I envision it to be. I wanted to create the space, the place, the atmosphere where young persons can share with the world that we are here and we are making a difference.
Definitely.
That young persons, we are here and we are striving and we are alive. Because while we were waiting to start, I'm glimpsing through The Guardian, and there is a 2-page article, The Changing Face of TNT's Gang Culture. Now, Isaiah, I met Isaiah through Smokey and Tyrese.
Right.
And then I saw how involved he is in primary schools in terms of the spoken word.
Right.
And I keep asking myself, how come we as grassroots on the ground, the layman, we are seeing all these different ways and ideas where we could help the youths, but persons in higher positions are not really reaching or trying to reach or trying to do the things that you all are already doing.
Yeah. Because the thing is with that, I believe that everybody does see it on the surface. Everybody just see it on the surface. So everybody will just talk. Everybody just talk. We fed up a crime. We fed up a this. We fed up a gender-based violence. But that's at the end of the day, that's the furthest some of them going. They're just talking. They're not taking any time out of the day to say, all right, let me get to the root of the problem. Let me see what causing this. Why this happening?
Stick a pin there.
Yeah.
In your experience, what are some of the roots of the problem we are currently having?
It's definitely, to me right now, one of the biggest problems would be social media. It would be social media because some of the things that are portrayed, like we were just talking about, you know, when somebody died, they just post up the body.
Correct.
And you just see it. And now that has become a norm. You're seeing people getting shoot on social media. You're seeing people just, and these are going, the youths on the phone 95% of the time. Even when they're in school, they're on the phone. So, you know, they're seeing these things. And on the news now is, it's nothing different. There's nothing different. We're again on the news again on social media. Same murders, same vibes. And now the social media has now infiltrated the gang world. Whereas like, I on the side, you on that side. I try to talk for you, but now the whole world could see because we on social media. We on our live. Two and people we on our live and we cursing out each other. We spewing expletives. We going crazy. And social media has really, I would say, influenced this next generation of, I would say, I'll call them radicals. You know, I can't call them insane people.
Correct.
I'll call them radicals
because grammatically correct.
Because it's out of hand.
All right. So we have Isaiah. He identified one.
Yeah,
you can name a root?
I mean, I think in general, it does sound stereotypical sometimes, but I mean, a lot of this really starts in the communities, in the home. Now, we have seen, you know, a very high increase in terms of student violence in our schools, particularly now as we are coming out of COVID. Some of these students have not had social experiences in years in terms of relating to their peers, but they may have been in certain communities and certain homes, right, where they would have been exposed to a certain lifestyle. The issue we're seeing with these schools is that the life on the outside is now penetrating into the school. So we have the people are claiming that they're from whichever gang inside the school, in the school uniform, you know, and of course the gang is supporting them and they feel that they are now in a position where they can talk back to their teacher. They could curse out their teacher because the bad boys and them could shoot up your car when you drive out of school, right? So we have this dynamic where, you know, we are really trying to get into the schools to try and combat that, but we see it happening from the community.
Isaiah said social media. Emmanuel said communities. Someone on Facebook Live says the first thing that must be done to help the youths, by extension people, is to change their way of thinking, get them to change their attitude and their behaviors. So we'll identify that as number 3. I will contribute to number 4, and my contribution will be home.
Definitely.
Right?
Most important.
And I think this is where our conversation is going to focus this morning, because I started off this morning with the concept of thought, the power of attraction. What we think, what we believe, what we want, what we don't want. I tend to bank a lot on my fears. So I'm trying to come out of that category. However, I am now at a place where I am thinking about a child who doesn't have things that are customary to me will be considered a luxury to someone else, right? So let's think about it from this way. This is a child living in an at-risk community where luxuries are not available to them. we cannot deny that sometimes they come from a single parent home.
Of course.
So by the time they get home from school, mommy's probably still at work.
Yeah.
So this child now has to grow and bend and mend themselves. Then they get into a school environment, a class full of 30 to 32 children.
Yeah.
We being as I kind of as raw as I can cut. Right. Miss is not really.
Miss not taking them on, come Miss fed up.
Let me read.
Own problem.
Miss have her own problems.
Miss have her own problems.
Yeah.
So this is this child sitting in this classroom, lost.
Absolutely.
Who am I really have that much support because mommy has to do what mommy has to do for me to survive. The next thing I gravitate to is my community.
Yeah.
And then I am in the midst of a community where gang violence is very high.
Imploding community.
Correct.
Yeah.
My question to the public or to the nation, so three of us sitting here is, what do we expect from that youth?
I think the expectation is a predictable one. We know where they will go.
Yeah.
And
It's
I think
like
it's
two places. Two places.
Boy,
There's only two places.
it's either in jail
Or you die.
or you're in the ground.
Yep.
All right. And that is the predictable expectation. And you raise a very good point. Even when you spoke about the being in the home. That's one thing. Coming in the school and not getting the support that you need. You're spending most of your time in school. Huh?
Monday to Friday,
Monday to
8
Friday,
hours.
8 hours a day.
Yes.
And it really ties into what we do as an organization. One of our intervention programs called the Abyssinia Journey of Change program is really aimed at trying to put a stop or put a barrier there in that school area where support is concerned. So we're coming into these schools, we're bringing the knowledge, we're bringing that same thing that could affect the way of thinking of the individual, and we're exposing them to that content, right? Of course, whether it's on the primary school level, the secondary school level, we do it all kinds of youths, right? But that is really where we're trying to enter. You see, because entering the home, realistically,
It's
may
hard.
not, right? It's a bit more difficult. But what we found could be a little more sustainable for us, even as an organization, is to get into these schools, right? Really expose them to that content and let them know that they have that support, that they might not think they have through the teacher who is fed up already. If the teacher is fed up, Roots Foundation is not fed up.
I love
All right?
that.
Yeah,
If
not
the
fed
teacher
up.
is not fed up, Roots Foundation is not fed up.
Yeah,
sure.
Roots Foundation not fed up, right?
No,
That is what we came to do.
But this is my thing, right? And this takes us back to the construction of our education system. Again, we're being very frank and we're being very
It's archaic. It's archaic.
Right?
It's
I came from private school where I had a period where we were taught life lessons. This was mandatory.
Yeah.
Right? Just like how you had maths, English, chemistry, whatever. We had a period where this was mandatory. The boys were separated from the girls, right? Sometimes they had guests coming in talking to us. Sometimes it would be the teachers themselves. However, these are things that just as much as we cherish getting an A in POB or POB, this is another class that we cherish. So I am guessing or I am suggesting, seeing where we are at as a nation in terms of our young persons, these are things we need to implement in schools.
yeah.
The truth is, confidence level of a lot of our young persons, it's low.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's
It does
low.
happen.
So what happens then is that they put on this mirage, and that's not really the person they are.
Definitely.
We could agree to that?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You start upon the mask.
Yes.
You know? Or the code switch.
Code switch.
Yeah, they do the code switch because when you're outside and you choose the life already, to have people who you respect. And like I was talking to B the other day, bigger, right? I was just talking to Bigger. She was like, we was talking and she was like, ting. If I say that you two getting real disrespectful, but they will always be respectful to people who they grew up with. They will always be respectful to people who show them love, who show them the heart. But
You see that? You see the showing of love.
And that's the next thing. The love has dwindled. The love has dwindled.
I say it plain.
Yeah.
And who vex lost. I just see my daughter telling age people good morning and good afternoon. And there's watch my child in her face.
And don't say nothing.
And don't say anything. We being frank.
Yeah,
because the narrative is that young people have no respect. And they just pass on the road and they don't say morning and they don't say evening. My child is 7 and she's passed on the road. If we go into an establishment, she would say good morning, good afternoon. And when she does that, you know what is my response? So other than hear my child say good morning. Because this is the reality we live in.
All they talking about no respect. All they talking about not people.
In exchange, there are older persons who hand on the same treatment that they talk about that young persons give to them.
Definitely.
And I love how you say the lack of love. It's something like it's just becoming thinner and thinner and thinner.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's something that I think parents are just not putting effort into anymore. It's something I think some teachers are not even putting effort into anymore. And now we are at a point where we are trying to understand, where we are trying to save, where we are trying to rearrange or restructure our young persons. Because the 9-year-old boy turns into the 12-year-old boy who then goes to 16 and 18 and 21 and then
dies it, maybe.
Well, someone on the Facebook Live is asking, where have we come up with they will make it to 30? So I need you all to explain that concept.
Okay, so there was this panel discussion called Youth on the Money. I think the Ministry of Youth Development they was having this panel discussion, and I sat there amongst, you could say, some people let's say are fighting out of my class, but I know I belong in every space, in every circle.
I like that
because I know I value my work. I value my work. I value the work I just do, and I know the work I just do, and nobody can take that away from me.
Yeah,
you know. So we sit down on the panel discussion, and I was talking about housing for and Vision 2030 and Vision 2030, and I sit down up there, and I was like, we talking about the future. We talking about 30, but they don't have enough youths making it to 30 to talk about housing in 2030. You know, and with that now, the whole Make It to 30 initiative came up, and it was heavily pushed by our mentor, the founder Roots Foundation, Mr. M. Tameeka Solwazi, and right now we working on the curriculum and we building towards creating this initiative and get it off the ground. And it was starting my community first. By Sawa Baratara. And then we tried to branch it off into different communities. So it wouldn't just be tailored for one area. It would be tailored for the whole country. And because now you have to go back into personal development, you have to go back into therapy, because some people really need that therapy and they need somebody to talk to them, and just basic life skills like saving your money,
with the ups and downs of a business, starting a business, deal with anger management.
I could start from a really basic place. I think areas we need to start with it's a simple dress code going for an interview.
For sure.
Right? You can't wear a brown belt with a black shoe.
Oh gosh.
And we may think that these things are
normal.
We may think that these things are very basic. We may think that persons out there understand, well, these are things that you just don't do. However, from what I have seen, there are persons out there who they have no clue how to enter into the real world.
Do not know. And I don't even want to say it is their fault that they do not know. Whatever reason. It is not their fault that they do not know. And that's the first thing we have to keep in mind. Like, it is not their fault that they do not know certain things. Whatever social realities or lived experiences they had at that time would have kept them away from that aspect of their cognitive development, right? So really, as the organization, Isaiah, myself, Tima, the rest of the team, is really to bring that awareness, right? From that level, something as simple as matching the belt with the shoe, right? To also, okay, you're confronted with a situation, your first response might be to lash out. Okay, let's think about that. Where do we start from there? what effect is lashing out going to have on the overall situation?
Yep.
So it is to just bring them aware that there are other ways to deal with this besides what you think you know or what you do not know. Yeah. So I think that Make It a 30 thing is really a call out even to the policy makers, because that is
I just find like you come in my studio this morning.
yeah. No, but I think
hold on.
Yeah.
I find you came into my studio this morning
He was looking shy, and
you was looking reserved.
chilling.
And Janelle had to ask you, but why you looking so shy?
Fighting a little cool
And then when you sit down in front of my microphone this morning, you are just dropping all the gems. I think we as a people, as a nation, and I love the fact that you use policy makers.
Absolutely.
Right? I love the fact that you made that utterance, because every time I sit here, I tell people, this could never be about party.
never.
Come on.
This could never be about politics.
Yep.
This could never be about what we grandmother tell we who we supposed to vote for. This supposed to be as us young people having access to a microphone, having access to a brain space, and providing a service for persons who look just like us.
Yeah.
Yes,
Spot on. Hit the nail on the head.
I feel I want to run for politics. So
I voted for you. I voted for you.
And already billing my cabinet wrong. I don't understand why it is that one.
Well, yeah, you
No,
go
but-
comment. I will say something.
No, but as much as we may laugh about it and we could share a light time about it, this is a very serious matter.
Definitely.
This article says the estimated number of gang members for each year. I want to call this out. 2015, 1,084 gang members. 2016, 2,038 gang members. 2017, 2,484 gang members. 2018, 2,400 gang members. 2019, 1,462 gang members. 2020, 1,044 gang members. I am not hesitant to say that every picture that is posted in this 2-page article, these persons are of African descent.
Yeah.
And I am not describing what is not in front of me.
Yeah.
Now we go back to the fact where you speak about social media. And I have this thing, is it that the media is only portraying the negative, or is it that this is all the media has to portray?
Oh God, the latter I hope is false. There's not only negative things happening.
Yeah.
Right?
I want to be the devil in the details.
Yeah, devil's advocate,
for sure.
of course. I think the reality is there are positive things, but there's this dynamic. We as a society, what do you want to see on the cover of the papers?
Yes.
Do you want to see, guy from, let's just say, guy from Sawa gets open scholarship and is going to Italy to study?
Yeah.
Or do we want to see a mother crying on the road because she son just got gone down?
Well, and the funny thing about this too, real funny about this whole situation is that even when it's positive, like we can remember the Kerry Marcel incident.
Yeah.
Boy from Bitam. So when he from Bitam, when he do law, when he thing. So it's like what the country want. The seeing positivity, but that's still too negative because I find it focusing on Bitam. I find the favoritism. I find the favorite on the side more. I find it doing this more. So it's like we stuck in our stasis. We stuck in the middle of a rock and a hard place, and we don't know where to go.
But I'll disagree with that, right? And why I will disagree with that is because sitting in front of me is 2 young men who have not reached the marker of 30. And I get a strong sense of confidence. I get a strong sense of assertiveness. I get a strong sense of service. And you see, service for me has to be one of the key contributing factors that make a human being.
Absolutely.
Because if we think about the dynamic of our mother, of all our mothers, they have provided us with a service.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If we think about our grandmothers, they have provided us with a service. Now, if we want to take this to nation, when we go and we vote, we do a service.
Yeah.
Right? You all encourage us to go out there, get your ID cards, get your ballot card, go place a vote. Now I'm at a place where I'm wondering the service that I rendered, what is happening with that service that I voted for.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is a, yeah, that is a, I mean, the service that you voted for, the reality is, and it comes back to the same make it to 30. It comes back to the make it to 30.
You couldn't answer one
in the sense of, you know, policymakers are deciding in Isaiah's panel discussion that he's going there, they're talking about housing. This is the service that we're talking about, right? Housing. And Isaiah is now saying the Vision 2030, their goal is to have a certain amount of housing. Don't get me wrong, housing is cool.
It's fine.
But
We
the
all
reality
want it.
is, these youths need to live to 30. Like, that is what it comes back to. You understand? These youths need to make it to 30. So in that same service, and that's what I was going to say before you were telling me, it was such a good job at all of that, that, you know, what really are the priorities of the policymakers. Now, there's the same thing Isaiah attended, the Ministry of Youth Development. They are offering a lot of services as well. They're doing a really good job in terms of a lot of services.
I saw
being
Mr.
provided.
Foster Cummins. He had something in Constantine Park this weekend. He had HEC, all these different agencies that were there. I love it. I applaud it. However, as someone said earlier on, the information may be there. But are we at a place where we can say that everybody can absorb the information that is there?
I wouldn't think so, because everybody thinks different, everybody grows different, and that's our next important thing too. We had to understand. Doing this community work, I've been doing this for 9 years. He was 10 because I know 15 and 50, I started community work when I was 15. So it's like you had to know to yourself that you want the change as well. Because there's only so much help we could give and so much help we could render. You know, because we could talk from experience. We had a youth who was working with us. We had a youth who was working with us, and he is in jail right now. He's not here with us because he made his decision.
Right.
And that is what we didn't do. You know, like what we didn't do to put you out here to get
To
the help,
expose you
to expose you
and to give you the
to
support.
life, to thing. But at the end of the day, is
What you want.
you had to choose. You had to make that choice for yourself.
And it comes back into what you were saying, you know, about, and somebody on the live, I think, was just commenting on the way we think, you know, as individuals.
Correct.
And at the end of the day, we will try our very best, and we apply for funding every year, and we get into these schools to expose the individuals, because we believe that is really the first step in the journey of changing the way that you think. We want to expose you to other thinking patterns.
Yes.
Because your lived experiences were one where you were not exposed to that before. So you simply did not know. We are coming in to provide that support and to let you know that these are the avenues. When it comes back to you as the individual, you need to now ingest this information and say, okay, this making sense, I want to go forward with it. Right? And you really have that battle between what we are saying, because we come in for 2 hours for the day, and then you have, they go back home into their community that's saying something else.
And this is,
Right?
I have this thing, right? If I'm an elder living in a community, and I'm seeing this boy, I see him today, but I didn't see him for 6 months. And then on his 7th month, I see him again. And then 2 months pass, he outside. Then I don't see him again. I already know what is taking place. I just want to ask myself if elders in these communities are contented and comfortable with the fact that our boys are in and out of our justice system.
Yeah.
I really want to ask as a mother, as a grandmother, if your stomach do dance a little bit when you could walk outside in the community or the village you're living in and you're seeing them in a dream.
Yeah, boy.
These are the things I want to ask myself.
No, yeah.
I want to ask parents the days of looking in book bags to see if the pencil that you buy for the child is still the
It's still
pencil
in
that
the
they
book
have.
Yeah.
I really want to ask parents these questions. If you see him come home with our sneakers and you know him could afford our sneakers, what type of conversations are you all having?
Yeah, and all that ties into the support system. You know, as a parent, you just checking up on your child. The child might not like it very much at the time, but they will learn sooner or later that is a form of love. That is a form of checking up on.
Ask mothers, so when you dress like this to drop them to school, what image you think you're selling to small man or small girl?
Yeah, because sometimes imagine you dropping your child to school and then you had a good chilly day with your mother and sweet boy, that your father boy, and then so it's like it's a whole conundrum.
And all this is, and as we may laugh about it, but all this is construction of thinking of a young person's brain. Yeah. All this is construction and how this person is going to act and react. All this is construction as to what a person is going to allow into their lives, into their space.
Absolutely.
And then as a factor, some people, as we say, some people do experience certain things. And that's why the program we run now, the Abyssinia program, we try to have field trips. We try to take the youths out of the things that they are accustomed to and show them that, hey, look at this place here.
Yeah.
Well, some of them don't know the treasury is. I
liked what you said. You are sitting on a panel with whoever you're sitting with, and your disposition is, the work that I do is enough. The person that I am is enough. Yes, I'm listening to you all talking about housing programs. However, I believe what needs to be discussed is getting youths to 30. And many persons don't have that confidence.
Yeah.
And when you lack confidence, you tend to sway in any and every direction. You stand for nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think, and I would say that Isaiah is a product in that most sense of the work that we do at Roots Foundation, right?
You still get trouble?
Trouble is understatement.
Yes, Isaiah had
understatement. I lost my mom when I was 13, and that was a transitional period for me because all right, I now start secondary school is 13. Where you gonna do now? Where's the energy? I nobody to really push you. Yeah, nobody to think, but so it's like you gotta figure it out because you're by yourself. Your father working whole day. Whole day. Sometimes you see your dad once for the day. Sometimes you see him once every 2 days. But I love my father. My father did his best. He did what he had to do as a dad.
Correct.
And I'm not saying my father thing, but he had to do what he had to do. And with that now, I had to figure out why I wanted to do, why I wanted to be. And Emmanuel could tell you, when the first time you meet me, I was a small, loud, very wild, will do anything.
Individual.
And at that point there was a transitional period for me because I was going down a road. I had certain teachers tell me, hey, you would never make it past Form 3, you would die. And some of these teachers, they see me today and it's like they see a ghost. Because wow,
I can't believe.
Look at this young boy who never used to do work and like I could say this. Miss Rogers told me that the other day. She was like, Isaiah, you know, you're so stubborn, such a stubborn youth. If you say you're not doing something, you're not doing it. But you always used to do your work. You'd always understand. You'd always sit down because one thing my mother always used to say, Isaiah, she said, Isaiah, all right, you like football, you love football, you want to be the greatest, but when you get injured, what's going to happen?
What you'll
fall back on.
Yeah.
And it was schoolwork because so sad. So that like she see it before it even happened. Like she prophesied that before she leaves. And it was like, yeah, I had to fall back on my schoolwork. And then our next thing the community I grew up in, it had this notion where it's like to be bad, you don't have to go to school and I was never pushing that in that light because you can't be bad and dunce.
You can say that one more time for me.
You can't be bad and dunce,
right.
You know, and that was and that was one of the notions I had until it was like, I don't even need this. There's not even my energy. There's not even my speed.
So it was your choice and your decision to find yourself into the Roots Foundation.
Yeah, definitely.
No, Isaiah had a drive of his own, and that's good. And, you know, because of that, that already showed that he had a degree of confidence in him.
Yeah.
Right? But of course, through the work that we do with Isaiah, and myself as well by extension, you know, he's able to build that confidence to know now what his worth is, to stand on a panel and say, hey, we need to sort out people living past 30, etc. You know? But there are also individuals who don't have that confidence that Isaiah has.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So Isaiah was able to find us. But our job now as Roots Foundation is to find them.
Yeah.
Right? And that is really what it ties into. We're trying to hit as many schools as possible, right? As many communities as possible.
So the initiative is geared by the ministry?
Not necessarily. Roots Foundation is an NGO
right,
organization.
by itself.
So we have our programs, syllabus, all that is set, and we apply for funding as any other NGO would do. And we have a list of funders. We will not get into the specifics of that, right? But once we get the funding, of course, formal letters have to be written to the Ministry of Education to get into the schools, etc.
Lovely.
You get your documents in order, and you can then enter into the schools and conduct.
And what is the feedback like when you all get into these schools?
Before or after?
During the entire process.
I would say,
are children hesitant or do
they are?
They are.
They are. The first is usually be the first 2-3 weeks. First 2-3 weeks.
So how long? Wait. So how long does the program run for?
It depends, right? We typically work with the school term. So let's say we typically start September.
Nice.
We have to. It has to be a continual effort. Because again, we're coming in the schools for 2 to 3 hours and they're going home back into the communities.
Yeah.
We have to keep the brain thinking and in that combative state where they're not just leaning, as you said, because of lack of confidence, leaning to whatever. Right? So we're keeping that press on them. So throughout the semester, we're trying to really engage them as much as possible, whether it's twice a week, 3 times a week. Of course, they have school, like normal, that we will be, quote unquote, interrupting, right? But we're engaging them on a constant and continuous basis. And this is what we really, when we're applying for funding now as well for, is to try and have continuity on a yearly basis.
So it becomes a part of the curriculum.
Exactly, because that is what we need. We will call it, we will talk to i95. We'll sort it out sometime. But yes, that's the general idea, that we're in the schools as much as we can be.
Part of the school curriculum.
Yeah, this must be another, along with maths, anger management.
Justice.
With maths, gender equality, dealing with that. With maths, media. With maths, a skill set, a life skill.
Maths, self-development.
Exactly.
Yes.
This must be part of that norm. And this is how we're getting into the minds
they
of
say we only use 10% of our brains. And I think and I believe that we could expand the usage of our children's brains. Correct me if I'm wrong. So adding something else to the curriculum is not even going to say, well, good, well, we're getting them children plenty things to do. No,
this isn't even things to do.
This is life skills.
It's like
a
don't think of it as an extra thing to do.
It's a break. It's a break
most of them.
It's a break.
At the end of the day, most of them, they come back here to decompress, to share how they feel, to know that they're in the safe space, but also to learn something that they weren't exposed to before.
Could you all agree with me that it's a really scary place to be, to know that a lot of our young persons are not feeling safe or secure in their own home environment?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely, 100%. That is the essence. A lot of youths are not feeling safe. Some of them are under the notion, okay, it is kill or be killed kind of vibe. So then you have the same lashing out in schools where it's this fight for respect and to show that you're bad. But also because you're showing you're bad, you're hoping that nobody does anything to you as well. You understand? So we have this lashing out and this disrespect that is all stemming back from the home, not feeling the support, not feeling the love. And again, that's what we're trying to come in and curb. Again, as an organization, there's only so much that we could do in terms of interacting with them.
I think it's more than an organization. I think what makes this really, really amazing, and I'll say it again, is that it's 2 young men under the age of 30 who have already understand how we can go about to try and shift our current narrative. That for me speaks volumes.
Absolutely.
Because it's not to say that I'm talking to someone who's holding a really high esteem position, who has already lived their life and now they are coming with the rule book as to how they think or they believe we should do things now. It's persons on our level. Absolutely. It's persons who you all have not reached that 30 marker as yet. And you all are so heavily involved in the rebuilding and the restructuring of some of our young persons.
Yeah. We are
It's
on the journey.
commendable.
We are on the journey with them. We are not 30 yet.
We're not 30 yet.
So we are not trying to make
Because we
it.
going to 30.
We are not trying to make it.
Hello,
to 50,
I am
let
not
me real.
30 yet. I looking to make the 30 mark too. So all of us are in the same boat
Yeah.
of looking to make that
sure.
30.
And I think that is what our founder really wanted when, he was founding this organization. Of course, he had his past when he was younger than 30 as well, and he found his outlet for change and
Yeah.
wanted to bring about that change. But, he really puts that emphasis on us.
Yes.
Because
To
we are on
carry
this
the
journey.
battle.
Come on, to really relate to the youth and to get it out there that we are in the same
Correct.
position. We have certain knowledge and certain skill sets that we have learned, and we want to share that with you as well.
And our next important thing too, one thing with Mtima, I remember he's a very family-based man.
What is his name?
Mtima Salwazi.
Mtima Sowazi.
Right?
I like it.
So he is big on family. So anywhere we going, anything we doing, he
It's a group.
contacts our parents. He contacts Emmanuel's father. At the time was my aunt, and everything is start tea. Well, this is what I'm gonna do with your charge. This is because I am in charge of him now. So this is what I'm gonna do. This is what we're going to do. And he always has the parents involved. And I think that's our next thing, as we say, because is social control. Everybody knows social control is important, and
Yeah.
social control starts from home. So once
I think a lot of the parents too, in just general support, sometimes parents go through a lot.
Yeah.
Not
right?
sometimes.
Yeah.
All parents have
Parents
their
have
own work
it,
cut out for them with their child, and sometimes, parents sometimes feel to give up. We had an instance, our senior program reaching out to the youth, and the student really had a field day with the teacher, lashed out at everybody, at the facilitators, and was out. So much so that they had to call the parent. The parent was already fed up of the child, ready to take the child to court and that kind of thing. Now, when the parent is seeing us as an organization really trying to help this youth, instead of taking that fed up approach, they might be more encouraged now to lend a hand as well. In terms of, okay, we are working with the child, you are working with the child. So when the child leaves us, goes into you, it's a constant
It's the same routine.
positive
You keep
growth.
them in that routine.
As opposed to we doing good, but the parent already fed up.
All
Tell you
right.
whatever.
Here
you
I
know?
one from you before we wrap up. This is amazing. I swear to God, my little toe and all clapping you all this morning because it's commendable. I love service. I love giving back. I love giving to. I love feeding into. What is one thing you would like to tell the parents out there?
just love them. Just show them love and guide them. Always be there. Anything. Don't make something taboo. Don't make anything taboo. And you just need to be there. You see, once you're there and you build that trust, nothing could break it. Nothing could break it. But you had a trust in your youth as well. Don't give up.
Yeah,
Emmanuel, what
I
is
think-
one thing you'd like to say?
Please don't give up on your child. All right, I think that is what I would want to say more than anything else in the world. There are gaps that only a parent, meaning a mother or father, that can fill in a child. Isaiah and me could do all the syllabus. We could
But
go through
it's
all.
mommy and
But there's
daddy.
a gap sometimes, a hole of love or of support that can only be filled by you, the parent.
For sure.
Please do not give up on your child. You're having an issue. Reach out to Roots Foundation.
Yeah, reach out to it.
You understand? But you as a parent, you can do your own research and see what is there to offer for your child to get that support. Don't give up. That's what
I
I
will
would say.
say to parents out there, it's learning to accept your children as they are. You see the denial phase? Well, my son wouldn't do or my daughter wouldn't do. That only contributes to the destruction of your child.
Yeah.
So I am asking and I am pleading that you all accept your children for who and what they are. Now we're switching the narrative now. What is a message you will give to young people out there?
Always believe in yourself. Don't let nobody tell you what you can't do. Don't let no if you want to be a pilot, astronaut, lawyer, garbage man, anything you want to be, you could be it. Don't let nobody tell you you can't do this. But always look at the positive. Never look at the negative. Because if you look at the negativity does only lead to destruction. So always be positive.
I think on the journey of growth of an individual, you know, I say it over and over. You as the child, the youth listening, you have the final say in your life. All right? The parent could love you all the love in the world. Isaiah and I could love you all the love in the world. But if you don't want to love for yourself and you don't want better for yourself, the path will still lead to destruction. It starts with you. Don't think of the long run. You're making $1 million a month legitimately. You know, whatever success looks like to you in that capacity. But look at what can be changed now. What small step you can take that adds a positive aspect to your life. And get started from there and build on that. That's all I would say to the youths.
I would say learn to love yourself before you learn to love anyone else. Because most times we project all the things we wish we were given to ourselves
Onto others.
onto others.
And
And
when
when
it
we
heartbreak,
realize it's not happening, we destroy ourselves both mentally and emotionally. And then we start to see us doing things physically that are harmful to ourselves.
Absolutely.
I must say, on behalf of my i95.5 family, they love this. I love this. We love this. The nation needs to love this. The nation needs to have this. Guys, this is... Who did sing that? It's only just begun. It's only just begun.
Absolutely.
And like I said, anyone and everyone who sees the importance of service and giving time, energy, and effort into the betterment of another human being, for me, it's a commendable act.
Absolutely.
Thanks this morning for this.
No problem. Before we leave, shameless plug. Follow the Roots Foundation.
Oh gosh, yeah, Roots Foundation 868 on IG.
868.
And Roots Foundation TT on
Guys, I want
TT
in
on
on this.
Facebook.
I want in on this.
Yeah.
I
It's
want
open. This is a safe
in on
space.
this.
Yeah, for sure.
My mind reached 30 yet and I'm still looking to...
Even if you're over 30, I mean, you can make something happen. Like, you don't make it sound like it's that kind of show. Like, you're ready to give up. You're steady one and then you want to give up. Like, you don't make it that kind of show, right?
Guys, listen to me. Thank you so much
Always a
for
pleasure.
taking the
Thanks for having
time and sharing the experiences and sharing the love. Wow.
Thanks for having us. We appreciate.
Oh my
we appreciate the
gosh.
conversation.
I wish that someone out there heard exactly what we were talking about this morning. And as we said, the policy makers, the shifters, the movers within the country, they realize that this is something that it needs room to grow and expand, and it needs to be incorporated into the correct places.
Absolutely.
Foundation.
Absolutely. Come on.
They
Look out for
have-
us in your school.
You all have done, you all have done a wonderful job. What is
Yeah.
his name again?
Mr. Mtima Salwazi.
When you all see him, shake his hand for me, please. He has
Oh, big up
done
Mtima one time.
Big up Mtima. Big up Jaron. Big up Josan. Big up Danger. Big up...
Yeah, big up Kels. Oh God, if you call names,
If you call names, it will get messy. So,
Chairman Ronnie.
So we just following Roots Foundation.
Yeah, Roots Foundation 868 on IG and Roots Foundation TT on Facebook.
And with that, it will lead it to the website, it will lead it to the
you can
YouTube
check out everything
channels.
else. You see the work that
you'll
we
see
doing.
work that we do, some of the performances that I do. So, yeah, you'll see a lot.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a wonderful day.
You as well. Bye, everybody.
Thanks.
Guys, it's 12 o'clock in the nation's capital. Oh my gosh, Cameron is here. As always, I leave you guys with lots of love and lots of light. It's news at 12.